This is Untitled Cichlids, and we're looking at controlling the pH tour. Also, to start off this video, you actually get to see the alpha male of the albinos. Hopefully he won't hide, but looks like he's going to. The way I'm controlling the pH and all the aquariums that I have now, it used to be filled with matten driftwood, and even though it's a driftwood from Africa and does well in a lot of cichlid tanks, it does release tannins and does reduce the pH in your aquariums. Also, it causes more algae to grow in your aquariums because of the tannins. Now, pH has an interesting fact. The lower the pH, when you get acidic, germs, organisms, bacteria, illnesses, things that can actually hurt your fish thrive more in an acidic environment. So it's best to have your African cichlids in a alkaline environment. So basically what I've done is taken out the matten and done my best to do bigger water changes, and I'm also experimenting with the baking soda method in a few of my aquariums. Also, I took time to rescape my aquariums. You hear I put some Coke glasses in here. Nothing, spectacular, but it gives a different view of things. Things look different. It's pretty cool. I like to change things around every week some way, and during or after the water change, usually during. I am keeping plants, rocks, different things, but no driftwood at all. So I've taken time to change out some or most of the aquariums that you'll see in this tour about controlling the pH. So let's move on to the Icebreaker Aquarium. So the Icebreaker Aquarium actually has one that's a little bit different than Icebreaker, but it's from the Icebreaker batch. And it does look like that the yellow is going to be forming on the right in front of the dorsal fin here. We'll get a better look at that in just a second here. We can get it to swim exactly right. I got my fish trained. I'm sure you do too. So this one's coloring up. It's a little bit different than the normal icebreakers, but if it has the yellow right in front of the dorsal fin, that's going to be really cool. So this is what an icebreaker looks like here. This is one of them, and the yellow is forming right there. This is the second best one, and it may not be the best one, but it's the most colored up so far, besides the main one. We'll get a look at it, which is this one right here. And this one's got yellow on the dorsal and the anal fins, the caudal fins. It's got yellow on the eyes. It's a really cool fish. So we'll see how everything turns out in this aquarium. The driftwood has been removed. Lots of algae. See all that algae? I'm thinking it will slowly start to go away now the driftwood's out of there. Look at that one. And things will improve because the pH will go up. They'll be more healthy, and we'll see some of these that are slowly coloring up to color up to full level. So I'm excited about that. A lot more questions are getting asked about the icebreakers because they see the thumbnails and they see my previous video on the icebreakers. They're interesting because they were formed by a breeding project, and this is the 5th generation of the icebreakers. Look at the blue on that one right there. And I do see the little bit of yellow starting to form right here, but this one has more of a blue body where these have more of a pink body. So that's kind of a cool variation in the icebreakers. I'll definitely keep you up to date on these guys every week. See if you can see the differences. You know, like this one's barely coloring up. There's several that are barely coloring up. There's one right here is already getting some red, and this one here is starting to color up, and this one here. So I think the coloration will improve with the improving pH, because I'm going to do larger water changes, which I have been doing in the last few weeks. And without the driftwood, the pH will be a lot better off. And we'll see how this aquarium goes, and plus the coloration of the icebreakers. Now the filtration is all matten filtration in my aquariums and the fish room except for one. That's because it's a drilled aquarium and it's wet dry. We'll see that one. I got a special topic on that one. Now look at this guy. This is the best looking icebreaker I have so far. We'll come back to that next week. So let's move on to the Dragon Bloods. Now this is the Dragon Blood aquarium. It's definitely overstocked. Got a lot of good stunners in here. I do have the matten filtration on this one. On this one it has an extra filter because I had it, and since this one's so overcrowded, I do have hanging on the back. Now in the future I'm going to be changing over as many aquariums to the Swiss Tropical matten filtration, which you'll see that at the end of the video of what aquarium I have that in. And so eventually most of my aquariums will be running that, because matten filtration is my favorite, and I'm not going to change from that in the future, because I've been using it for several years, and the Swiss Tropical has done so good since I've gotten it, and I've actually been really impressed with the quality. These guys are looking good quality Dragon Bloods, different colorations. You see some of them are pink, some white, more orange. There's a more of an orange one here. Lots of different varieties. This one's got a little bit of yellow in it. Looking good, and I'm going to have you know, a lot of varieties in the future, just as long as I keep these guys alive and keep going with my breeding project. So let's look at the next aquarium. Now this aquarium I consider my blue-faced aquarium, because there's different types of peacocks in there, but they're all blue-faced. This one's unique. I like how it looks. It's got some real good black markings on the tops. It's got really nice spots back here. Good one there. This is a sunshine. It's kind of a sunset peacock. It's a little bit less colorful right now because of all the males in it, but when it's really dominant, it's a nice looking male. We've got some that have nice blazes on the top. Really nice. Now this aquarium, let me point out, this aquarium on the bottom was full of driftwood. Now I've added this little jar here, and it just says "a sky above and a book to love." So it's kind of cool. Anyways, it's something I had around the house, so I'm using it. It uses matten filtration. They're doing pretty good. Taking the driftwood out of here is going to have the pH great, because the substrate is actually crushed sand, crushed coral sand. So they will do really well in here. Eventually this will of course be changed over to the Swiss Tropical brand of the matten filtration. But right now I've been using this one in this aquarium for quite a while. And so we'll use that one until we get it upgraded, and we'll go from there. So let's check out the Sunset Peacock Aquarium. Now this one didn't have much driftwood. It had a piece in here. And this is my Sunset Peacock. He's getting in the light. Can't see him real good now. He can. Now he's a really good stunner, and he's breeding with Dragon Bloods. Now he hasn't actually been successful yet, but it won't be long. It takes him longer to adjust to the dragon bloods when you're breeding peacocks of different colorations and different types. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but he's definitely the alpha male in this aquarium. I'm not sure if it looks like this guy may be a male. Well, let's see here, where is he at? Maybe, or just maybe a big female. That one may be a big female or a male, but right now nothing's challenging him, so I don't know for sure. It could be just a big female. Now, people ask me all the time, you know, how can you tell? Well, sometimes these are curved like females, then all of a sudden, bam, they start pointing out and developing into the male characteristics. So sometimes you can't tell at first glance. Egg spots don't work. I don't care what people say, that doesn't work. Like this guy doesn't even have egg spots. You see egg spot on that sunset peacock? I do not see one. Look at that. You see one back here on the tail, the anal fin? Nope, no egg spots. It's definitely a male. So let's move on to the next aquarium. Let's look at the Frontosa Aquarium from the 75. So this aquarium is a work in progress. You got 4 Frontosas in here, 3 female, 1 male. The male is blind in one eye. He's actually in this little tub I got here. Decorations I have in sieve driftwood. The aquarium's gonna have to, you know, redo itself. There's still some debris that was around the driftwood. It does use matten filtration. This one's going to be the first one to upgrade to the Swiss Tropical matten filtration. So this aquarium definitely will have this first upgrade very shortly. I do want to get more of the Frontosas breeding. I do want to have more OBs of this type. I want to make sure that these guys are looking great and doing good. That's the type that I got going in a few areas, a few aquariums. I want more of those because you don't see them as much. You see the different types that are more common. So let's move on to the winter peacock aquarium, where plus this OB right here can be used for the Dragonite peacock project I've had going on off and on for years. So we'll have to see. Now this one right here is actually becoming a real stunner. Look at all the kind of the gold flakes. I don't know if that's going to last or not, so we'll have to see. That may be one spectacular fish, and it could just turn out to be ordinary, because sometimes they're kind of shiny when they're young, and then they kind of turn blah later. So we'll check that out. Let's see if we can get a better view on it right before we leave. Alright, let's go to the next aquarium, the winter peacock aquarium. So nothing really going on here major. We got a really cool looking OB peacock in here I've had for a while. Doing really good. Look at that one right there. That one's really coloring up good. A lot of OBs in here. There's a lot of different fish, some dragon bloods in here. Doing really good. There's another bigger OB in here. Well, let's see if there he comes out. He's pretty cool. I mean, he's decent. This one's kind of nice. The tear on his dorsal fin, I don't know if it's going to ever heal. It's been like that for months and months, so it may be permanent. Tell me what you think about the dorsal tear and why it's not healing up. It's been months. So let's move on to the Prism Aquarium, where we have the NASCAR project and of course the Prism Peacock project. So I actually took out 3 big pieces of driftwood out of here. So I think the quality of the water is going to be a lot better ongoing and keeping these guys healthy. This is the Prism Peacock. Hopefully I'll get it under the light. I could move the light around, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So you can see basically this guy's an amazing fish. Now he's going to be breeding with OBs and the dragon bloods. Now the thing about these OBs here is their offspring. Some of them are albinos, some of them are OBs, some of them are sort of like the prism peacock. There's a mixture, so that's the NASCA project I got going on, because we can have 4 different varieties of fry from one batch and have this beauty as the father of all of them. So let's move on to the Mbuna Aquarium, which I've done some major changes. So I've done some major changes in the Mbuna Aquarium. I've actually got some mason jars in here for caves. That way when they're actually in the mason jars, I still get to see the fish, which is really cool. Now it may not stay that way if there's some algae, but I can always clean them out, run them through some bleach and rinse them really well, and they'll be back to seeing through them. Now this aquarium was full of driftwood, and that was a major mistake. There's a few people that told me about it, but it didn't really die. I didn't have it die off because of the lower pH. I had it die off because the pH lowered the resistance of the health of these guys. Right there you see a hybrid. It's not really a hybrid, it's a cross Labrichromis. I have several Labrichromis that's been breeding with each other. So that's actually a bicolor Labrichromis with a yellow top Mbuna Bay. So that could be really spectacular. Here's Mbuna Bay right here. I don't have as many as I used to, and I will have more in the future. I just have to raise them up. You saw a hongi in there. Maybe he'll come out. Yeah, right there. Well, there he is. Looking really good. The fish are looking a lot better, a lot healthier. You know, I have to admit that I made mistakes by having driftwood in here. It's a bad deal. Don't lower your pH for your African cichlids. Luckily, Starburst, no problem. Looking spectacular, top notch. Now, when his dorsal fin gets cut a little bit, it always heals back. So maybe he just got better genetics than the other OB you saw earlier. So I'm real happy with my Mbunas. You got electric yellows in here. You got, you know, my cross of my Labrichromis that could be really amazing. So you might want to watch every week, see how these guys turn out. I will be collecting some in the future. Not right away, but we're going to grow these guys out. So when I do collect them, there'll be lots of babies to be collected at one time, instead of just 10 to 15. I like to get at least 30. So let's move on to the Sunset Grow Out Aquarium. What I really find amazing is these guys are kind of schooling. These aren't just the Sunset Peacocks. There's some Labrichromis Mbunas in there, and they're actually schooling in this aquarium. On this side I don't have cleared off the algae off the glass. But you see them, they're schooling over here, then bam, they're schooling this way. I think that's really cool to watch. You see them how they're schooling? Really cool. All the driftwood's been removed from this aquarium, not the plants. It will eventually get a improved matten filtration. It's got one now, does well, but we'll get it improved in time with the Swiss tropical one. So these guys are doing great. Going to be doing a lot better with better pH. Plus, I don't have to battle the tannins where the water turns yellow. It'll be easier to take care of. The pH will be a lot better. And these guys should grow better now that they're more in a normal environment. So let's go on to the Prism Grow Out Aquarium. You saw the prism fish, the prism peacock. Well, I already have young. I already have fry. So let's look at them. Alright, so these guys are a little spread out. You got some that look like dragon bloods. You have some that look like they're blue faced. Some that look like they're OBs. Really cool mixture. You can't really tell as much from this size, but you can tell that these guys here are dragon bloods, and then the gray ones are a blue-faced peacock, and those are actually from one bunch. I thought there was 30. There's probably around 50 actually in here, and they were released naturally. I had the female in here, and she released her fry naturally. She held them full term. I think it works better for raising your peacocks. So this has no driftwood in it. I think it's going to be doing great, and we'll see how these guys turn out in a few months. So let's kick it off in this video with the big 125 with the Frontosas. Alright, you see two males in here. They've been fighting a little bit, nothing too major. You see the back fins a little roughed up. No clear-cut winner in the dominance. They are trying to gain Kanger's favor. No mating occurrences yet, but I believe it will happen. The jealousy part is working. We do have another female in here. Now, she's got a little bit roughed up, but she's still doing good. Kanger's down here. I have been using some crab meat to stimulate some breeding. You see I have some baby Frontosas in here. All the driftwood's been removed. There's some caves in here. There's some glass vases for like flowers, and some of these tubs I got going here. I have the aeration coming out of this one. Looks pretty cool. Look at the flow on the top. It's coming from the left on the matten filtration by Swiss Tropicals. It's done really well. Definitely want any type of filter I get again will be Swiss Tropicals matten filtration. I'm just really happy with what it produces. I wish I had the extra cash or waited and bought fewer slower to do the whole fish room back in the day. So I'll slowly change over to that type filtration because it's using all aeration, lots of flow, 3 inches of a mat, tons of surface area. You don't really have to clean it. So I think it's going to be great. So let me lend you with something. I want to show you how much driftwood I actually pulled out of my aquariums. Look at that big pile. Huge pile of driftwood. Got it out of the aquariums. Here's another big piece. And look at all this. All that came out of the aquariums. And that now my pH is going to be under control and a lot more healthy for my fish to combat viruses, bacteria, and illness. To keep them strong and healthy, because an alkaline environment keeps that stuff away. Fish don't get sick. Even human beings with a better pH and the alkaline range are a lot more healthy. Thanks again for watching. This has been Ricky Cichlids.